7 missiles hit Netanya last night, not in open fields, not in the sea. 7 confirmed impact sites inside one of Israel's most protected cities, and the Israeli government is not telling you what was hit. This is not a story about missiles. This is a story about a ceiling, and last night, Iran found it. If you want to understand what mainstream media is skipping over, subscribe now and stay until the end, because the numbers in this video will change how you see this entire war. Netanya sits 30 kilometers north of Tel Aviv, population 221,000. Home to Israel's diamond exchange, billions in annual trade, critical power lines, telecom hubs, and major transport corridors all run through this city. When you hit Netanya, you are not hitting a city. You are cutting the wires that hold Israel's coastal economy together. Iran knew exactly what it was targeting. At 11:47 p.m., air raid sirens tore through the city. Families were pulled out of sleep. People ran to shelters. Residents who looked up saw dozens of glowing orange streaks descending from multiple directions at once, a web of ballistic missiles spreading across the night sky. Iron Dome fired. Aero systems fired. White contrails crossed the darkness as interceptors raced upward. Some missiles exploded mid-air in bright flashes, but some kept descending. 7 of them reached the ground. Here is the concept that explains everything happening in this war right now. It is called a saturation attack, and it has nothing to do with advanced technology. It is pure arithmetic. If a defense system can intercept 6 targets at once, you fire 7. If it can handle 20, you fire 30. You keep firing until the defender runs out of interceptors or runs out of time. The goal is not accuracy. The goal is overflow. Israel's air defense runs in layers. Iron Dome handles short-range rockets from Gaza and Lebanon. David's Sling covers mid-range missiles. Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 intercept long-range ballistic threats, the kind Iran fires from its own territory. Each layer has a maximum engagement capacity. Each interceptor costs between $1 and $3 million. Last night, Iran fired more missiles at Netanya than all available batteries could physically engage at the same time. Not because Iron Dome failed, not because operators made errors, because the system ran out of lanes before it ran out of targets. That is the ceiling. And Iran just showed the world exactly where it is. Now here's the number that should be on the front page of every newspaper in the world right now. Iran produces approximately 100 ballistic missiles per month. The United States, which supplies many of Israel's interceptors, produces approximately 6 to 7 interceptors per month. 100 versus 6. Read that again slowly. During the 12-day war last June, the U.S. burned through a quarter of its entire THAAD interceptor stockpile in under 2 weeks. A quarter of the national supply, gone in 12 days. We are now on day 28 of the current conflict. The expenditure rate has not slowed, it has accelerated, and the cost gap makes the picture even darker. Each Iranian ballistic missile costs between $200,000 and $500,000 to produce. Each Arrow interceptor costs between $1 and $3 million. Every single engagement costs Israel 5 to 10 times more than it costs Iran to generate the threat in the first place. In less than 28 days, interceptor spending alone has crossed $3 billion. That is over $100 million per day just to keep the shield operational, not to win ground, not to destroy launchers, just to stop missiles already in the air. Iran is not trying to destroy Israel with missiles. Iran is trying to make defense financially unsustainable. And the math is working. This is economic warfare wearing the mask of a missile campaign. Since this conflict began on February 28th, Iran has launched over 600 ballistic and cruise missiles and more than 2,000 drones in 28 days. The types have diversified: solid fuel systems with precision terminal guidance, heavy missiles capable of carrying cluster warheads, and platforms Iran claims maneuver at Mach 8 during descent. Each new threat type forces a different defensive response, a different radar tracking protocol, a different interceptor configuration. The complexity multiplies the saturation problem instead of just adding to it. Netanya's geography made it close to a perfect target: flat coastal terrain, no mountains to interrupt trajectories, no natural cover to complicate the approach. Israel's defensive battery positions around the city have been mapped by Iran through years of satellite surveillance and signals intelligence collection. The IRGC did not guess at the intercept capacity over Netanya last night. They calculated it and then fired past it deliberately. The footage from last night makes this visible. You can watch Iron Dome interceptors launch in rapid sequence, white smoke trails climbing fast. You can count the mid-air detonations where interceptor meets warhead. And you can watch the missiles that kept going, descending while the defensive system was fully engaged with other targets, with no interceptors left in the queue to reach them. The regional consequences of last night are not theoretical. They are already being calculated in capitals across the Gulf. Every state with American military bases watched what happened over Netanya, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait. They watched Iran saturate one of the most defended airspaces in the Middle East and confirm 7 ground impacts inside the city. They are now running the same numbers for their own oil infrastructure, refineries, export terminals, processing facilities along the Gulf Coast, knowing that their air defense systems are less advanced and less layered than Israel's. Iran has already struck Saudi oil facilities before. The entire global oil supply chain runs through a handful of choke points that Iran can reach. A sustained campaign against Gulf energy infrastructure would not just hurt the region, it would send oil prices to levels the global economy has not seen in decades. The only thing preventing that scenario right now is Iran's decision not to execute it yet. After last night, that calculation looks different in every Gulf capital. Israel now faces 3 options. None of them close the gap. 1. Massively scale interceptor production. Cost, tens of billions of dollars. Timeline, years, not months. This war will not wait. 2. Offensive strikes to destroy Iranian missile production before the missiles ever launch. Israel has been attempting this for 28 days. Iran's launchers are mobile and deeply concealed. The results have been limited. 3. Accept that some missiles will get through. Shift resources toward civil defense, infrastructure hardening, and evacuation systems. Manage the damage rather than prevent it. Every option is a version of managed loss. Not one of them closes the production gap or reverses the cost asymmetry. Iran produces 100 missiles a month. The stockpile refills faster than Israel can drain it. The financial pressure on Israel and the United States grows heavier with every passing week. And the psychological damage of watching dozens of missiles fill your night sky does something that no interceptor can fix. It breaks the public's confidence that the government can protect them. The saturation attack on Netanya was the 32nd wave of Operation True Promise 4 in 28 days. More than 1 attack per day, every day, for a month. The frequency is not desperation. It is a deliberate strategy of exhaustion. Drain the interceptor stockpile, drain the budget, drain the population's sense of safety, and force the Israeli government into an impossible choice between financial collapse and public fear. Israeli authorities have confirmed emergency responses to 7 separate impact locations inside Netanya's metropolitan area. They have not disclosed what those locations were. No official damage assessment has been released. Were the targets residential buildings, power infrastructure, transport corridors? The government is not saying. And that silence is its own answer. If the impacts had been minor, open ground, empty lots, minimal structural damage, the government would say so immediately to reassure the public. Governments always release good news fast. They sit on the rest. 7 locations, no details. Draw your own conclusion. Last night was not the deadliest strike of this war. It was not the largest wave, but it was the most strategically significant because it was proof. Proof that Israel's air defense network, for all its technological sophistication and all its billions of dollars in investment, has a hard limit. Proof that Iran has now located that limit and knows how to breach it consistently. And proof that a war fought primarily through defense, no matter how advanced the technology, cannot be sustained when the attacker produces threats 5 times faster than the defender can produce answers. 7 missiles reached the ground in Netanya last night. 7 confirmed impact sites inside a city protected by the most expensive layered air defense system ever built. A network that cost billions to construct, struggling to keep pace with an attacker spending a fraction of that cost per strike. This is the operational reality both governments are burying behind delayed reports and classified briefings. The arithmetic of this war favors the attacker, and until something structural changes on the production side, on the financing side, or on the ground in Iran, the saturation attacks will continue. Netanya was the proof. The question now is which city comes next. If this gave you something the news didn't, share it with one person who needs to understand what is actually happening in this war. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of this conflict as it develops, and drop one word in the comments. Iron Dome if you believe Israel holds the line, or overflow if you think Iran